What up, YouTube? Welcome back to When Nice Guys Retaliate. I was thinking about an interesting topic today, and that topic is why I believe nice guys should not support feminism. And I'll tell you a little bit of my opinion and experience on the topic. And basically, one of the first things that kind of got me to kind of support feminism in the first place is, you can kind of see in different areas how men treat women. I didn't see a whole lot of it, but of course, if you watch enough TV, you'll see it. And, I usually saw a lot of women that are pretty smart making good decisions, stuff like that. And of course, you can see situations where men would leave women with kids and stuff. And so I was pretty prone to believe that feminism was a good thing until I'd say my first relationship was my biggest turning point. So, me being me, of course, I'm a nice guy. I started, seeing this young lady. And after a while, she come up and tells me one of the weirdest things I've ever heard in my life. And she said that I was too nice and she broke up with me. Now, based on my background, what I heard, the things I knew about it, feminism, the concept of feminism, in comparison to being a nice guy, so to speak, or a good man, there should not be any realm, all right, in my thinking, to where a woman who's been supposedly abused for centuries and since the beginning of time should be able to say that a man is too nice. That makes absolutely no sense. If women have been treated so wrong, so bad for centuries in so many different ways, there's no way a woman should be able to say a man, any man, is too nice. So that was the first contradictory thing that I saw. The second thing is, because I had this notion that caused me to question feminism, I began to look at women in a closer respect, because that's just did not make any sense. So once I began to focus in on women, because feminism causes you to focus in on the negative aspects of men. But if you are an experienced man, or if you, like myself, you run into a situation where they call you too nice, it causes you to focus in on women, because too nice does not mesh with feminism. The feminism they've been abused. All right. So now with this question in my mind, I started looking at women, and what I found was that there are a lot of women who choose to be in certain situations that put them in harm's way. And then on top of that, there are women who choose to be in situations and then they disregard any type of protection a man will actually offer them, a good man will offer them. So now, women, it made me think that, it showed me that women are making bad choices. They're putting themselves in bad situations. And not only that, I even saw a situation where a woman will stay in a situation. She will stay in an abusive situation by choice, despite feminism. So feminism, to me, at this point in time, or at that point in time, was basically garbage. It was basically a bunch of women who have failed at relationships. They failed at picking the right type of man. They fail at making good choices for themselves and with men. In a lot of cases, these women are actually attached to men because they've basically given themselves over to them. And since they've given themselves over to them, they accept everything. And that could be abuse, that could be bad language, could be disparaging comments, it could be a whole lot of things. But because a certain guy, if that's the guy that she wants, she will forgive all of that stuff. All right? Every last bit of it. But on the contrasting side of it, a woman won't forgive a good guy that makes a bad decision or a bad choice, or even a choice that she doesn't agree with. She will hold that against a good guy until she basically passes on to the next world. All right? And not only that, she will hang on to a good guy long enough to get back to a bad guy. All right? That's the player, that's the one that's going to abuse, that's the one that treats you like a side chick, that's the one that puts her down. That's the one that this dude, this nice guy, he'll spend half his life building this woman back up again, saying she's beautiful, she's intelligent, the dude shouldn't have treated her that way, X, Y, Z. But the only thing that woman will do is she will take that as strength, she will take that stability, and she will use that as a means to step up and try to get back with that guy that she originally likes, which is the bad boy. She will do it, and she will do it again because she is basically connected to him, because that's the idea of the man that she's supposed to be with. She also has a false hope that this dude is going to change for her, and he most likely won't, unless something dramatic happens. But feminism in itself is basically composed, not totally, but in part it is, the core of feminism are women that basically have very bad dating habits, and that could be because of their mom, how they were brought up, what they saw, and they know things are wrong, but they're stuck on it because that in their mind it seems like that's what's supposed to be right, even though they also know it's wrong. It's like it's a contradictory thing. They have a contradictory mindset that allows them to live in. They live in two different worlds, but they'll never be successful in either one of them. And it's just really a big mess. And part of the reason why I think nice guys should not support feminism is because any woman that is a feminist, she cannot, in principle, love you back. She will never be able to love you back. So, in reality, a feminist in a lot of cases, or the core of feminists, the ones that are hardcore, they should not be on your list of people to marry. If she says anything about feminism, if she has any feminist mindset, if she says she hates guys, she's been in bad relationships, but she's all powerful, she's trying to control a relationship, that type of woman you should drop like really quickly. All right? If she's no good to you, she is unable to love anybody, really. She's probably unable to love herself, unable to love her mom and dad. She's probably unable to love a man. She's just someone you should not deal with. All right? And so I'd say to go to a step further, these women don't want to change in a lot of cases. They don't want to change. They don't want to be able to see a man in a different light. And even if they see you as a nice guy, in a lot of cases, they view nice guys as weak men. And not only do they view nice guys as weak men, because a nice guy is going to be gracious and kind, they will take that man that they perceive as weak and use it as an opportunity to abuse that man. They take revenge on the nice guy, all right? Not the guy that actually does them wrong. They take revenge on the nice guy. And the nice guy, a lot of times, is going to be the only man that gives these women a chance. And the reason being is because a good guy, in my opinion, is a man that's already been hurt by a woman, all right? And so if he sees any resemblance of a woman trying to hurt him, manipulate him, lie to him, anything like that, he is dropping, he's dropping her like it's hot. There is no question about it. He's going to let her go with the quickness because he's already been abused by a woman before, so he's not going to allow it to happen again. That's the reason why feminists can't find good men ever, because they're tainted women. They're tainted by hurt and heartbreak and really confusion about relationships in general. And they're not going to be successful with a man who has any type of experience with a relationship. And then on top of that, you have the guys who are players. And a player, this brother, depending on where he come from, because you have two different type of player. You have a player who was he was born a player, so to speak, which means he was raised to be a player. And then you have a man who's actually turned into being a player. Now, the man who's turned into being a player, to me, is going to be less caring the man who was actually born a player. Born a player, that dude he's just going to treat women like cattle. All right? That's basically what women are to him. Cattle. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You know what I'm saying? And not necessarily in that order is how he's going to view a woman. Whereas a guy who was made into a player, he is going to target probably certain types of women who would normally target him. And he's going to basically do to them what they did to him. And it's just a vicious cycle of broken relationships. And it's not good. In reality, feminism in itself is not good for women, because you have your core feminists, and then you have the women who just follow other women. And the women that follow other women, they have no basis for their belief in feminism at all. They only have stories that they heard from other women. And because of the concept of believe all women, they actually believe them. And so now they're being advocates for situationships and other things, heartbreaks that may have never ever happened. And if they did happen, they're only going to see one-sided. Because a lot of feminists, they're so brazen, they're victims that act like oppressors. And that's in itself, it just basically shows why feminism doesn't even make sense. Because you have these women that will jump up in a man's face that's supposedly an abuser, and they will say everything under the sun to make him mad in order to get him to do something that's bad so that she can punish him for it. Which makes absolutely no sense. And it's also a reason why if you see a feminist, you should just walk the other way. You know, even if you help a feminist, there's always this underlying situation, because she may view you as a weaker man, and a weaker man is basically somebody that won't punish her for what she's actually doing to him. Which doesn't make a man weak, it just makes her really just dumb. You know what I'm saying? Because eventually, if you do enough stuff to certain people, they're going to retaliate against you. And they don't seem to understand that they have become the problem. All right? They may have seen a problem that's 15 miles away, but they're actually becoming a problem because they don't even understand the situation. They don't understand the dynamics of what feminism even came to be. And even a lot of times, just the basic core of feminism, which was equal opportunity, has long been passed. women have more rights these days than men, in my opinion. All right, because if you can get custody of man 9 times out of 10, that's more rights than men. If you can get child support out of a man without him even wanting to give it to you, that's more rights than men. If you can put a man in jail just based off your words, and he can be totally innocent, that is women having more rights than men, more rights and privileges than men. And it's just really messed up. But feminism wasn't even made to stand the test of time. Feminism in itself, it weakens women, because you can't be a leader if you believe half the population is horrible and worthless. You cannot lead men if you think men are horrible and worthless. So just based on those two things alone, feminists are handicapped in a bunch of different areas, because they don't even know how to see value in men. They don't even know how to see value in other women that, disagree with them. They automatically disvalue people that could be very valuable to them. And it just goes back to the point to where a feminist will actually take advantage of a nice guy because he won't do anything to them. You know what I'm saying? He actually follows the rules. Whereas they will have more respect for a guy who will basically, abuse them or talk to them bad and stuff like that. But they'll also expect nice guys to just roll over for them, not to have any rules, not to do anything against their will. And that's where I think a lot of this new age feminism comes from, is because nice guys aren't weak. Now, you may have some guys that are, more agreeable with women and are going to let a woman lead. But I don't think that's the majority of nice guys. And I think that's the reason why the divorce rate is still potentially up, is because they have men that are good men that just won't bow down to them. And because they won't bow down to them, because of their perception of that man as being weak, he's controlling, he's a narcissist, he's this, he's that. But how often do you see a feminist call a bad boy a narcissist? No, she'll call him a man. You won't see a lot of feminist-minded women disrespect men that they chase, but actually do not treat them equal. But they will do this disrespect to the guy they consider nice or a good man, because they think they're stronger. They're basically being the man in the relationship. Where a man has been kind of abusive to them, they become the abuser. Which is another reason why feminism isn't, nice guys should not support feminism. Because in feminism, a woman is not able to love a man back. And that's the primary reason why nice guys should not support feminism, is because feminists don't love men back. So it don't matter how much love you give to them. It don't matter how much you help them in life. You can pay off all their student loans. You can pay off their car. You can buy them a new car. You can buy them a house. You can do everything you're supposed to do. Give them kids, lift them up on a pedestal. You can send them to outer space on a 3-day, 4 nights excursion to the moon, and they still won't respect you, and they still won't appreciate you. And so feminism is basically a broken woman's, I guess you could say, community. And a broken woman's community is not going to be good to any community. And so, now, that being said, I think you do have some women that are feminists that may be, that they're probably the truest form of feminism. but they understand that they gotta respect men. That you have to work with men. That men have value. But these women are on the edge. They're on the edge because they're probably going to be, basically trumped by the women who are the core feminists, which are the hurt women. And so some women who are feminists are really not, they're probably the truest form of feminism as of when it first started, to a degree, or at least what feminism should be. And so you gotta watch out for those women, because those women in a lot of cases deserve respect, because they actually are trying to fight for equal rights between the men and women. And they'll do it, they can do it without actually disrespecting them. So, but that's just my thoughts at this point in time. And that's what happens when nice guys are telling me. So I hope you guys take care and have a good one.